on News Hour tonight. 43 killed in fresh Benue communities attacks. State government seals off building collapse site in Oyo. Wike and Amichi spare again amid renewed rivalry. And on the foreign scene, Gaza officials say Israel kills more than 30 people near aid distribution site. Hello and welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I am Dorcas Yakubuzala. We begin the news on a sad note. At least 43 people have been killed in fresh attacks on communities in Gwer West and Upper local government areas of Benue State. The latest attacks, which occurred on Sunday evening, mark another bloody episode just 1 week after over 40 people, including a police officer, were killed in similar attacks on villages within Gwer West. Locals say the attackers stormed Se and Swam, a suburb of Naka town in Gwer West local government area, around 7 p.m. and opened fire, leaving at least 18 dead and many others wounded. Survivors said several villagers fled into nearby bushes or even jumped into wells to escape the onslaught. Traditional ruler of the area, Daniel Obomse, confirmed the death toll and described the style of the attack as guerrilla-like. In Upper local government area, the attack was equally devastating, as local sources said gunmen invaded Eduku Angpali community around the same time as the Naka attack, killing over 25 people. Meanwhile, the new spokesperson of the Benue State Police Command, DSP Udeme Edet, confirmed the incident but did not give specific casualty figures. Now, joining us to give us a first-hand update from Benue, the state capital, is Trust TV reporter Emmanuel. Good evening, Emmanuel, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, Emmanuel, another 43 lives lost in Benue, coming just a week after similar bloodshed. How do you respond to growing criticism that the state is failing in its duty to protect its citizens?
Yeah, the recent attacks are actually a concern to all citizens of Benue State. Just last week, we have some attacks, and then this week. But just to correct something here, the governor addressed the press this morning as regards the number of casualties. I mean, the number of deaths recorded. He said in Gwer West local government, 11 persons were killed, while in Apa it was 12. So putting that together, you have 33 persons that lost their lives in the attacks on Sunday evening. It has actually created tension in the whole state. Not just those two local governments. Persons are concerned, nobody is safe in the state. Just on Saturday, there were attacks close to Makudi, the state capital itself, in Agam community, that is just kilometers away from the state capital. So it's actually a point of concern to anywhere within Benue State, and as a citizen of Benue State, I'm also concerned that this is where we found ourselves, and we are hoping that the state government, together with the federal government, will be able to close rank. Do something that will curtail these attacks, because it has actually become something that for people of Benue State.
Just in Naka and Eduku Angpali reported no early warning or response from security forces. Was there any actionable intelligence prior to these attacks?
Yes, there were, because like I said, the attacks were reported to start by around 7 p.m. in the evening of that Sunday, and the news was everywhere. And like I said, during the governor's address to media men this morning, he said on getting the information, security um, people were drafted to these two areas. And by this morning, he also said that head of security agencies in the state were drafted to that area. Of course, some of our men were part of that trip. So we're actually hoping that when they are back, as at the last time we spoke, they were from Apa back to Otukpo and then to Naka. So we are hoping that when they are back, we'll get more details of what actually happened. Because going by what we are getting, what the governor said and what the community, the community members are saying, there is disparity in the number and all that. So by the time this group, this media team is back, we will be able to get more details of what actually transpired, what actually happened in these two communities. So yes, there were information about this attack, and according to government, they got information concerning the attack, and that was why security personnel were drafted to the area.
The governor has recently promised to improve security in the state. What concrete steps have been taken, and why are we still seeing these recurrent attacks?
Yeah, when you talk about these attacks, particularly in Benue State, like you had it on the news, the traditional chief of that area said the attacks are more of guerrilla-like. These people come in the night, particularly in the night, dead hours of the night to make these attacks and then go back. So according to government, they are putting, the governor is always talking about working security and not talking security. So he actually believes in not exposing the plans or whatever he is doing to curtail these attacks. So whenever he is asked questions on what he is doing to put this to an end, he always prefers not to talk about it, but do it according to him. So talking about what the state government is doing, it is only when we see things on the ground. Like last week, we saw some security personnel drafted to other local governments concerning previous attacks in Kwande, Okun, Lobo, and Katsina. So this morning, like I said, according to the governor, plans are in the pipeline. The government is not resting to make sure that these attacks are curtailed. But I can't particularly tell you this is what the state government is doing, because he says, according to him, he prefers working security than talking security.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for joining us and giving us that update.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, moving on to more stories. The Oyo State government has sealed off a collapsed building allegedly belonging to a popular restaurant in the Dugbe area of Ibadan to prevent any potential risks to lives. Commissioner for Lands and Housing, Williams Akinfumilayo, led a team of officials to seal off the building, confirming that there were no casualties reported. According to Akinfumilayo, the ministry's team inspected the site and found that the materials used for the construction of the collapsed building were substandard. He further said the state government will conduct an integrity test on the building and other outlets of the restaurant constructed by the same contractor. The commissioner added that outcome of the test will guide the state government's decision on how to proceed.
Professionals from Ministry of Works will come over to carry out the integrity test. After the report of the integrity exercise, we'll be able to advise what next. This is coming up. This outlet belongs to a popular eatery outfit. And for this to have happened, of which I believe the same contractor handling this is the one that handle other outlets they have in Ibadan and even other cities. That will necessitate integrity tests being carried out on all other outlets that belong to this eatery, because I believe The engineer that did this, which has failed, is equally the one that will have done the other athletes around the town. And to prevent loss of lives and property, we have to carry out integrity tests.
Now talking politics, the All Progressives Grand Alliance has faltered claims by the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress in the 2025 Anambra governorship election, Nicholas Ukachu, that President Bola Tinubu has mandated him to deliver Anambra to the APC. Ukachu, who was hosted to a welcome reception at the Chinua Achebe Airport, Umairi, Anambra State on Saturday after his recent visit to President Tinubu, had reportedly made the claims when he told the APC supporters that the president had mandated him to connect Anambra to the center. He also used the reception to unveil his running mate, Senator Uche Ekunife, to his supporters. However, reacting to the development in the press statement released on Sunday, the national coordinator, ABGA Media Warriors Forum, Chinedu Obigwe, said Tinubu never gave such mandate, insisting that Ukachu is not the spokesman of the president and not in a position to relay the president's message to Nigerians. Obigwe said delivering Anambra to the APC is an impossible mission that cannot be accomplished by Ukachu because the state governor, Chukwuma Soludo, will defeat him by a wide margin during the election on November 8, 2025. Away from that, the Registrar and Chief Executive National Examination Council, NECO, Dentani Ibrahim Wushishi, has said that the body is ready to conduct a computer-based test, CBT, for the November-December Senior Secondary Certificate Examination, SSCE, for private students. Wushishi, who stressed the need for an awareness campaign to get stakeholders on board the new approach to SSCE examinations, added that NECO had been carrying out the campaign in town hall meetings with stakeholders across the state on the need for CBT. The registrar, while speaking during the Education Writers Association of Nigeria Air1 dialogue series with the theme CBT for SSCE, Is Nigeria Ready?, held virtually, disclosed that there were more than 2,000 CBT centers across the country, aside from national Open University CBT centers in all the states and some local councils. He added that NECO is also mapping out schools to match with available CBT centers so that they could determine the nearest distance to CBT centers or vice versa. Director of Senior Secondary Education, Hajia Binta Abdul Kader, in her remark, said the examination bodies, which include the West African Examinations Council, Wike, have all it takes to conduct CBT exams. Now, the political temperature is rising again, this time from the Federal Capital Territory, where Minister Nyesom Wike has reignited hostilities with his longtime rival Rotimi Amichi. From sharp rebuttals to political justifications, Wike took on not only Amichi's recent remarks, but also ongoing narratives about his allegiance and influence within the country's power corridors. The report.
The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has fired back at former Transportation Minister and former Governor of Rivers State, Rotimi Amichi, over his recent comments about Nigerians being hungry at his 60th birthday ceremony. Speaking during a media parley in Abuja, Wike says former Governor Rotimi Amichi is not hungry for food but for power, accusing him of playing politics with public emotions.
You are hungry. Let us still accept this. He was Speaker 1999 to 2007. And if anybody knows, he was the most pampered speaker. Then he was reading law in London as a speaker 1999 to 2007. He became a governor 2007 to 2015, he was still reading law in London. 8 years as Speaker of Rivers State House Assembly. 8 years as Governor of Rivers. You never talked about hunger. You became a minister from 2015 to 2023. 8 years, super minister, transport, where you were borrowing money for exit bank loans. You didn't talk about hunger. 2 years you have left office. I'm in coalition because I'm hungry. You're only hungry of power. And that shows failure on his part.
The FCT minister also responded to the criticism of his role in the 2023 elections, saying his support for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was driven by a principle of fairness after the PDP refused to zone the presidency to the southern part of the country. He maintains that he was never guilty of anti-party activity, pointing instead to what he called internal betrayal within the PDP.
I don't have crisis. Rather, the governor, unknown to me, gave himself to be the tool for those who couldn't fight me to fight me. You see, when people talk about resolution, sometimes when I go back, in my quiet moment, I play the video of the speeches of the governor. What he said, what he did to me, I will. Was it necessary? This was somebody who brought you, gave you food, gave you everything, did this for you. Then you became a tool for his enemies to fight you.
On the deepening political impasse in Rivers State, Wike's camp rejected recent remarks by Governor Siminalayi Fubara, who claimed reconciliation was progressing well. Wike countered that the situation is far from resolved.
I said on principle of equity and justice and fairness, the presidency should go to the south. If it does not go to the south, you cannot have national chairman at the same time. You therefore take one and give us one. Impurity. Because they were having a romance with the present government then, believing that Atiku will win. They said to hell. I said I was not going to support. So why did I not leave the party and join APC? Of all of us that time, as PDP governors today, as the so-called leaders today, who produced House of Assembly, 100%. Who produced National Assembly, 100%. Who produced governor? Who?
2 years after the 2023 elections, Wike remains a central figure, not just in Rivers politics, but in the realignment of national power blocks. His alliance with the ruling APC opened defiance of the PDP leadership, and the frequent public clashes with figures like Amichi and Fubara have kept the political terrain in a constant state of agitation. As 2027 looms, Wike's moves, whether tactical or controversial, continues to stir debate, raise eyebrows, and deepen divisions in a party already battling for identity and cohesion. Abdullahi Ahmed, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Still in the FCT, the Federal Capital Territory chapter of the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, has issued a 7-day ultimatum to the FCT administration to settle the demands of the striking area council's workers and primary school teachers. An executive member of the FCT NLC who preferred anonymity disclosed this on Monday, saying the decision to issue the ultimatum was reached during the State Executive Council meeting of the union held at the Labour House in Abuja last Thursday. He said Labour, after extensive meeting, resolved that failure by the FCT administration to address the demands of the FCT area council's workers and primary teachers, the union and other affiliate unions will shut down the entire FCT. He disclosed that union has directed all members of Nigeria Union of Teachers, NUT, Nigeria Union of Local Government Employees, and other affiliate unions in FCT to get ready for further action if the needful is not done by the FCT administration before the expiration of the 7-day ultimatum. He said union appreciated members of the joint unions for their support, cooperation, and steadfastness. Reacting, the president of the NLC in the FCT, Stephen Knabayi, confirmed that the union will issue the ultimatum letter to the FCTA on Monday to address the demands of the area council's workers and primary school teachers in the FCT. Suspected scavengers have allegedly stabbed a man identified as Nwagu Onyebuchi Clement to death in Old Kutungu Compensation Layout in Gwagwalada Area Council of the FCT. A resident of Old Kutungu, Francis Namdi, said the incident happened around 9:26 a.m. when 3 scavengers invaded the deceased house in the area and attempted to remove his burglary windows. He said the deceased, who was at the time inside his house, sighted them and quickly approached and queried why they are trying to remove his windows burglary. He said it was in the process one of the scavengers pulled a knife and stabbed the deceased, adding that the deceased, who was holding a cutlass, also stabbed one of the scavengers in return. According to him, both the deceased and one of the scavengers, who was also stabbed, fell to the ground and died on the spot. Namdi said the remaining 2 other scavengers immediately took to their heels after they discovered that the man and one of their members had died. The FCT Police Command is yet to react to the incident. The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps Anambra State Command has raided an illegal sand mining site at Omambala River, Ifite Ogwari in Ayamelum local government area of the state. The operation, conducted on Friday by the Mines and Steel Development Unit of the command in collaboration with a newly deployed Anambra State Federal Mines Officer, Edet Oku, was based on credible intelligence indicating potential illegal mining activities at the site. This was disclosed by the state NSCDC Commandant Marku Olatunde at the command headquarters in Oka on Monday. He added that following the raid, the illegal mining site has been sealed and a manhunt launched for the fleeing suspect. Olatunde stated that items recovered from the site included 1 dredger, 2 dredging engine pumps, 18 drums, 5 suction pipes, 8 plastic discharge pipes, 3 25-liter jerry cans, 1 plastic bucket, and 1 funnel. According to him, the command has launched a thorough investigation to uncover the full extent of the fleeing suspect's criminal activities, including those aiding and abetting the illegal operation. Nestle Nigeria PLC has announced a strategic collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Livestock Development to launch a dairy technical skills development program. This initiative, formalized through a letter of intent, LOI, signed on Monday to commemorate the World Milk Day 2025, aims to enhance both the quality and volume of milk production in Nigeria and address critical challenges in the country's dairy sector. Trust TV's Noel Sampson, who was present at the signing ceremony, brings us more details. The report.
Production and processing hygiene. And clearly you can see that this is the sign that the Honorable Minister, Federal Ministry of Livestock...
The LOI reflects a shared commitment to building mid-level technical and vocational skills essential for strengthening Nigeria's dairy value chain. The goal is to ensure food security, improve nutrition, and foster sustainable livelihoods. The partnership will, among other things, focus on establishing capacity building programs centered on milk production, processing, hygiene, and management, promoting industry relevant skills through stakeholders-driven training module, and enhancing milk quality and productivity within local dairy clusters through knowledge sharing and technical support.
This past February, we launched the Nestle Dairy Demonstration Farm as a practical model for increasing production from an average of 1 liter per cow per day to over 10 liters by implementing best dairy farming practices. It was at this event that the Honorable Minister of Livestock Development, Malam Mokhtar Idi Maya, graciously invited Nestle Nigeria to transform this demonstration farm into a training center, an invitation which we eagerly accepted.
If we look at the potential that we have in the dairy sector, we need the right skills to be able to tap into this potential. And this training will focus on developing skills in milk production, milk hygiene, milk aggregation, and management. That is what we're going to be concentrating on this training. And this collaboration will help to build those skills so that we can really explore the full potential of the dairy industry in Nigeria.
Details about the training venues and estimated financial investment we also disclosed during the event.
Okay, so we're going to be setting up the training center at the Nestle demonstration farm in Paikonkore Grazing Reserve around Gwagwalada in the FCT. That's where the center is going to be. That's where we're starting. I'm sure that eventually we'll be able to spread to other regions of Nigeria. The intent is not for anyone to spend money on the tuition for the training, because Nestle will cover that part of it. And then all the other details will come to you. So watch this space, as they say, for more details around the dairy technical training program.
Nestle Nigeria PLC remains a key player in Nigeria's food and beverage sector, with a portfolio that includes household brands like Maggi, Milo, and Nescafe. The company continues to make a significant impact nationwide through its manufacturing facilities and branch offices. Its core purpose remains to enhance the quality of life and contribute to a healthier future for Nigerians. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
You're watching News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up ahead. Ibut Meta residents in Lagos head to court over alleged unlawful brutal removal. This and many more when we return. Do stay with us. Welcome back. In case you just joined in, this is News Hour on Trust TV. Let's take a look at our top stories again. 43 killed in fresh Benue communities attacks. And state government seals of building collapse site in Oyo. Now moving on to more stories, the federal government has declared Friday, June 6th and Monday, June 9th, 2025 as public holidays to mark this year's Eid Adha celebrations. The Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, made the declaration on behalf of the federal government on Monday in a statement by the ministry's permanent secretary, Magdalene Ajani. Tunji-Ojo congratulated all Muslim Ummah both at home and in the diaspora on this occasion. He called on the Muslim Ummah to continue to imbibe the spirit of sacrifice and faith as exemplified by Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him, and to also use the period to pray for a peaceful and prosperous Nigeria. He assured Nigerians that the people-oriented reforms and initiatives carried out in furtherance of the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu's administration are to restore Nigeria on the path of progress. Ahead of the celebration of Eid al-Kabir, the FCT Police Command says it has beefed up security across the territory in order to ensure a hit-free Salah celebration and the IGP's award night. CP Adewale Saka Ajao disclosed this to newsmen shortly after a strategic meeting with the area commanders, AC, divisional police officers, DPOs, and tactical team heads at the command in Abuja on Monday. He said the move was part of proactive security measures to ensure a safe and secure FCT ahead of the Eid al-Kabir Salah celebration across the territory. He added that security measures have been put in place to also ensure that the forthcoming IGP's honors and award night and the June 12 Democracy Day commemoration are devoid of any breaches. CP Ajao, however, charged all the commanders to strengthen security within their respective areas of responsibility and ensure heightened visibility policing, particularly at all strategic entry and exit points into the city in anticipation of the arrival of senior police officers and other dignitaries from across the country for the IGP's event. The Minister of State for Works, Bello Goronyo, has raised the alarm over Nigeria's ailing road infrastructure, linking the problem to chronic underfunding of the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FEMA. He revealed that while the agency needs about 880 billion naira annually to maintain Nigeria's roads, budgetary allocations have remained far below this, with 76.3 billion naira in 2023, 103.3 billion naira in 2024, and a proposed 168.9 billion naira in 2025. The report. Speaking before a House ad hoc committee investigating the implementation of a 5% fuel levy mandated by the FEMA Act of 2007, the minister revealed a massive funding gap. He says FEMA needs 880 billion naira annually, but receives far less. Goronyo warned that this shortfall is worsening road conditions nationwide, driving up long-term maintenance costs. He called for the urgent implementation of the legally backed 5% user charge on fuel products to boost funding.
This persistent funding gap has forced FEMA into reactive mode of maintenance rather than preventive approach. The consequence of this rear glaring deteriorating road conditions, increased repairs costs and prolonged disruption for commuters and business alike. A proactive strategy backed by adequate funding is essential for ensuring smooth, safe, and efficient roadways nationwide. Thus, the diligent implementation and timely remittance of the 5% user charge are paramount.
Echoing the minister's concerns, FEMA's Managing Director, Chukwuemeka Agbasi, recommended critical amendments to the Act, including creating a protected road fund account insulated from political interference and mismanagement.
By addressing these areas, Nigeria can develop a sustainable and efficient road infrastructure system that supports economic growth and improves the quality of life for its citizens. In concluding, the 5% charge on petroleum products, as outlined in the FEMA Amendment Act of 2007, remains a critical but yet to be utilized policy tool for addressing Nigeria's road infrastructure crisis.
From the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, Mukaila Oseni admitted that the 5% charge, though lawful, has never been backed by a concrete collection framework.
However, it is worth of note that the FEMA Act 2007 did not stipulate the modalities for the collection of 5% user charge on the pump price or the agencies or organizations responsible for the same.
Declaring the hearing open, Speaker of the House, represented by Minority Leader Kingsley Chinda, emphasized that the 5% charge is clearly stipulated in the law, but implementation has lagged for years. The committee chairman stressed that Nigeria must transition from annual budget dependency to sustainable financing models like road funds and fuel levies, a global best practice.
Nigeria now looks up to you to ask the relevant questions and scan through the necessary documents to establish how much has accrued from the collection of the 5% user charge from the date of commencement of the law till the time of this investigation, and how much is standing to the benefit of FEMA and similar agencies at the state level.
So we call on all stakeholders to please join hands with us. We are not winch-hunting anybody. We are not trying to do harm to anybody. We are not trying to do anything wrong. but we are going to insist on the law being obeyed. One of the differences between our country and some other nations is obedience to law. When you travel even in Africa, you will find that it's the same human beings that are here that are everywhere. The difference is whether the laws are obeyed.
Meanwhile, tension flared at another House hearing, this time over the controversial conduct of the 2025 Wike English language exam held at midnight. The Committee on Basic Education has issued a 24-hour ultimatum to Wike to submit a detailed report on what lawmakers describe as a major breach of examination standards. Now, residents of Ibut Meta Lagos have taken legal action in response to a wave of demolitions that have ravaged their community since March 2024. Allegedly carried out without prior notice, legal justification, or any form of compensation, the demolitions have displaced dozens of families, leaving many homeless and sparking widespread outrage over apparent human rights violations, the report.
For the affected residents, the demolitions were not only abrupt but deeply traumatic. According to them, no warnings were issued, no compensation offered, and no alternative housing arrangements made. The devastation extended far beyond the loss of property, as people were stripped of shelter, livelihoods, and social fabric that sustained them. In a bold move, residents supported by the Community's Alliance Against Displacement, CAD, have taken their grievances to the Federal High Court in Lagos. They are demanding justice, accountability, and enforcement of their constitutional rights. This legal battle has drawn significant attention, representing a critical test of the Nigerian government's commitment to due process and the protection of its most vulnerable urban populations.
As at December 15 or 16 that have started. But what we want justice. We want justice because people in that community, some people have died, while some are being in hospital. Some children, they cannot be able to go to school. Women, they cannot be able to do anything anymore. So we want government to intervene on the case of the community.
Movable and unmovable property was demolished. Since then, no government intervention, no any local government intervention, nobody pay us visiting with community. And every day, they used to, all those hoodlums used to come to the community to be threatening us, intimidate, do different kind of things. Now we are outside inside rain. We family are outside inside rain. Nothing is done. The threatening is out of hand, and the intimidation also is out of hand. That period, they are not been going to the school. We are not selling. We are not doing anything. Nothing is going on there. We are in outside, sleeping outside during the rainy season, during the winter, everything. We are in outside. We are in outside. Nowhere to sleep again. All this, but they are just coming us to threaten us. That they are coming on Monday. They are coming with task force again. They will demolish us. They will say they will should from this side. They don't want to say anybody. Everybody panic. You don't have anything. You don't have anywhere to go.
But unfortunately, on getting to court, we were told that the court is on strike and the case will not be heard as scheduled. So, but that is not stopping us. That is not damping our spirits. The community is still very much resilient and also determined to follow this case to the very end and to ensure that due process and justice and accountability is being served.
As court precedents continue, the displaced residents of Ibut Meta hold on to hope for justice, protection, and recognition. Their struggle transcends legal redress as it is a fight for the right of every Nigerian to live with dignity, without fear of sudden displacement, and to have their voices heard in a system that too often silences the vulnerable.
In other news, the Rivers State government has reaffirmed its commitment to eliminating maternal mortality in the state. This was announced during the official flag-off of the first round of the Optimized Maternal, Newborn and Child Health Week organized by the State Primary Health Care Management Board. The report.
The initiative is part of a broader strategy to reduce illness and death rates among mothers and children under 5 in Rivers State and across Nigeria. The Executive Secretary of the Board, Professor Kinekamo Green, highlighted the importance of the program in boosting maternal and child survival rates. He stressed that the campaign is aimed at delivering critical healthcare services to women and children.
Our vision is to ensure that maternal mortality rate is brought down to the barest minimum. Now, studies have found out, and of course, WHO has also recommended that family planning is a major step in reducing maternal morbidity and mortality. Of course, it helps you to plan your family, to at least how you can manage. We have over 350 health centers, and these health centers have family planning commodities, from injectables to condom to all manner of family planning contraceptives that we have there.
Meanwhile, the state health educator, Diane Babu, alongside development partners, urged women to take full advantage of the Health Week to assess vital interventions for their children. They emphasized that the services are designed to protect both mothers and children, ensuring healthier futures.
To match go inside any health center for all the LGAs, we open this our shop. Say anything you want now, you pay. Come take am, antenatal day, family planning day, HIV counseling and testing day. Everything day, broku. As you take am so, you no go end for this week, oh. After this week, you will continue to go health center so that your body go strong. When I go follow us, make we end this nonsense when they call maternal death. Now go follow us.
It will be a very good opportunity where they will benefit from various health interventions. The ranges from, of course, antenatal care services that we have said, vitamin A supplementation, nutrition screening, immunization program, and family planning services.
Flag off in respect of maternal, newborn, mothers and newborn week has been successful. It is the state government's contribution to ensure that mothers are safe, that the children are also safe and healthy, so that we can reduce the incidence of maternal mortality in the state.
The flag off ceremony was performed on behalf of the Rivers State Administrator, Vice Admiral Ibut Meta Lagos, by the Permanent Secretary of the State Ministry of Health, Mekele Iwe, who emphasized the importance of antenatal care in ensuring safer pregnancies and successful deliveries.
You're watching News Hour on Trust TV. More news after the break. Many thanks for staying with us. In case you just joined in, this is News Hour on Trust TV. And now in business, the president of the Unote Group, Aliko Dangote, has revealed that Nigerians currently pay just 55% of what others in the region are paying for premium motor spirit PMS, popularly known as petrol. Dangote disclosed this during a visit to the 650,000 barrels per day facility by the president of the Economic Community of West African States Commission, Omar Traore, and his team. He emphasized that the price reduction was a direct result of local refining, which continues to improve fuel affordability while enhancing energy security and reducing dependence on imports. Traore, in a remark, declared the refinery a beacon of hope for Africa's future and a clear demonstration of what the private sector could achieve in the drive for regional industrialization. He further noted that the refinery, which produces fuel to Euro V standard is critical for enabling the ECOWAS region to meet its 50 ppm sulfur limits for petroleum products, a standard many imported fuels fail to meet, thereby posing health and environmental risks across member states. The ECOWAS Commission President used the visit to call for stronger collaboration between governments and the private sector, stressing that policy decisions must reflect the real challenges and opportunities expressed by African industrialists. The Ghanaian cedi has surged nearly 50% against the US dollar in 2025, outperforming all other global currencies. Price action shows that the cedi began the year near the 15 cedi per dollar level and now trades close to the 10 cedi per dollar resistance line. Investors are encouraged by the currency's rapid appreciation as a leading gold producer works to recover from its economic crisis and debt default. The cedi opened Monday at 10.21 Ghanaian cedis, up 7% from Friday's closing price of 10.25 Ghana cedis per dollar. According to Bloomberg data, the Ghanaian cedi is currently the world's best performing currency in 2025. This recovery stands in stark contrast to 2022, when it was the worst performing currency, losing over 55% of its value due to an inflationary spiral and debt crisis. Asian stocks fell on Monday after President Donald Trump last week doubled tariffs on steel and aluminium and accused China of violating last month's agreement to slash tit-for-tat levies. Asian markets sank Monday as investors brushed off data showing the Federal Reserve's favored inflation gauge cooled more than expected last month, with fears about the impact of the tariffs on the economy back in focus. Hong Kong dropped more than 2%, with property firms taking a heavy hit on worries over the future of New World development after it deferred interest payment on some bonds. Tokyo, Sydney, Singapore, Taipei, Manila, and Jakarta also fell, with Shanghai closed for a holiday, AFP reports. Oil prices surged after OPEC and other key producers hiked output for July, however less than expected, while geopolitical fears were ramped up after Ukraine hit air bases deep inside Russia, raising concerns over an escalation of the three-year war. And on the foreign scene, Britain's Prime Minister Keir Starmer on Monday said the situation in Gaza was getting worse by the day, adding that there is an urgent need to ensure more humanitarian aid is delivered to the Palestinian enclave. His comments came after health officials and international organizations said at least 31 people died and around 200 were wounded on Sunday. Witnesses say Israeli forces fired towards crowds near an aid site run by the controversial Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, a group backed by Israel and the U.S. Starmer said humanitarian aid needs to get into Gaza at speed and at volumes that it is not getting in at the moment, causing absolute devastation. Hospitals in Gaza have been overwhelmed with victims, with Doctors Without Borders saying people reported being shot at from all sides. Israel's military denied its forces fired at civilians near or within the site in the southern city of Rafah. An official speaking on condition of anonymity in line with procedure said troops fired warning shots at several suspects advancing toward them overnight. Now, delegations from Russia and Ukraine will meet in Turkey on Monday for their second round of direct peace talks in just over 2 weeks. The Ukrainian delegation, led by Defense Minister Rustem Umerov, was in Istanbul for the meeting, according to the spokesperson for the Ukrainian Foreign Ministry. The Russian delegation, headed by Vladimir Medinsky, An aide to Russian leader Vladimir Putin arrived on Sunday evening, Russian state media reported. Turkish officials said the meeting will start at 1 p.m. local time, with Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan presiding over the talks and officials from the Turkish intelligence agency also present. However, Ukrainian spokesperson said the start would be at midday local time. It was not immediately possible to clarify the discrepancy. Recent comments by senior officials in both countries indicate they remain far apart on resolving key conditions for stopping the war. The European Central Bank is expected to release its interest rate cut this week. A development follows its subsequent efforts at bringing down borrowing costs as inflation eased. The ECB is expected to cut its growth estimate on Thursday due to the impact of the trade war after the EU slashed its forecast last month. While investors will be on the lookout for any clues from the ECB president, Christine Lagarde, about the ECB's next move, analysts warn that heightened uncertainty means she will give little away. The meeting will likely also produce questions over the future next moves for Lagarde. Worries about sluggish performance in the 20 countries that use the euro have increasingly overshadowed inflation concerns as higher rates have pinched businesses and households, according to AFP, with Trump's tariffs adding to the sense of urgency. It's now time to join Kabir Lawal for the latest in sports.
The president of the Nigerian Volleyball Federation, NVBF, Musa Nimrod, has led a delegation of sympathizers to Kano State to condole with the government over the demise of 22 athletes, coaches and officials who were returning from the National Sports Festival held in Ogun State. The delegation had the chairman of the Sports Commissioners Association, Director of Sports Kaduna State, Special Advisor to the former Minister of Sport, now Minister of State for Trade and Industry, Sport Writers Association of Nigerian, SWAN, and veteran athletes drawn from various sports. They were received by Kano State Deputy Governor Aminu Abdusalam Gorzo at the State House. Nimrod expressed shock over the death of the athletes, officials and coaches, saying the news of their demise was devastating. Still on sports news, the National Sports Commission, NSC, has reaffirmed its commitment and readiness to attend the 6th Islamic Solidarity Games built for Saudi Arabia from 7 to 21st of November 2025. As part of the preparation for the Games, the NSC Director General Bukola Olopade is currently attending a 2-day seminar in Riyadh as the Chief de Mission for Nigerian team. The DG's participation of the Games Strategic Seminar is expected to ensure Team Nigeria is fully equipped with all regulation and requirements needed for Nigeria to record a successful outing at the Games in November. The Islamic Solidarity Games is another opportunity for Nigeria to expose its athletes and also discover new talents as Nigeria hopes to play its part in the overall ultimate objectives of unity, diversity and humanity that the Game stands for. The Islamic Games is returning in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia after 20 years, and this year's game is expected to set new standard and unite athletes from all 57 member countries of the world. That's Sport News. I am Kabir Lawal.
And with that, we wrap up News Hour on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all social media platforms for more programs, news and documentaries. My name is Dorcas Yakubuzala. Good night.